outpaced me. It's gone on a different tangent. And, I want to get back over there and enjoy what mountain biking is now.
Yeah. Good times. What's up, everybody? We're live. This is Dave. I've got Rick and Kevin with me. Kevin, for those of you that don't know Kevin is a world-class coach. He's on my staff. That makes it sound really official. He's great, and he's coached for 20 plus years. And Rick is one of our awesome students in the Athlete Accelerator. He's just hanging out. For those of you that are here today, we're going to dive into the 5 signs of bad balance and what to do to fix it. And we're going to talk a little bit about off the bike, like how to work on your balance. This is especially for you if you want to do really awesome stuff fast on the bike and you're like anywhere from 0 to 55 years old. And then at the age of about 55, there's a sharp decline that we can get with our balance if we don't really do a good job of using it. So if you want to do really awesome stuff on the bike at 55 or older and keep your balance, this will be a good episode for you. We are live, so you'll see me kind of switching screens around here. And it looks like we got... the screen is weird, man. I don't know how to not... Hey, up there. I don't know how to not cut myself off when I do that. But anyways, let's go ahead and start with the most basic version of what is balance. First of all, let's define what is balance for the purposes of mountain biking. And Kevin, you've been instructing for 20 years and you've worked with all different levels of people. What is balance? Gets harder the simpler the definition, right?
It sure does. I was like, oh man.
You're like, dang it.
Say this. Yeah, I would say it is the ability to resist toppling over or just falling as a result of gravity alone.
Yeah. How to not fall down. Yeah, I love that. So what I want to talk about is how to not fall down when we also have bumps and we're going downhill, we're doing some cool stuff, and even maybe a little bit of jumping. Who knows if we'll get into that. Let's actually just kind of rapid fire this stuff, man. So the very first note that I have is the number one sign that you're losing your balance or that it's a good indication to watch out for is just arm pump. So Kevin, what is arm pump? What does it feel like, and how do you know you've got it?
I'm guessing every viewer of this video knows what it feels like, and okay. They've had it before, and they're going, wait, this is a sign of bad balance? No, this is what riding's supposed to be like.
Yeah.
Forearm pump is when you feel like your hand is kind of clamped down, grasped, like you can't extend the fingers. It's like the claw, and the forearm feels tight and sore and throbbing. For me, I actually feel my pulse there, feels hot. Achy. And if you've ever gone to a downhill bike resort or you live in the mountains and you have extended downhills, this is predominantly where you would experience that sensation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty easy to tell if and when you have forearm pump. And without getting into what it is too much, what is the main cause of forearm pump? What's the root issue that we can all be more aware of so that this doesn't happen to us?
Oh man, I was told I got to drink more beet juice and I got to take my VO2 max seriously. No. Yeah. What it really indicates to me is that I'm relying on my grip on the handlebar to stabilize and balance myself over the bike.
Okay.
If I can fix my balance, I can fix my arm pump.
Yeah. If you can fix your balance, you can fix your arm pump. That sounds like a certain movie that I may have seen where things were dodged. Do you remember the guy who's like, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. And I get out there and he pulls out a bunch of wrenches and chucks it at his dodgeball players. Stupid movie, but definitely worth watching. Yeah, it's so it's not as complicated as people make it. There's a lot of workarounds people do for arm pump. We're doing grip strengthening, and they do a lot of stuff that's forearm focused, but really if you don't have to use your arms to hold on for dear life, you'll never really get it. I will say if you're racing downhill, you're probably eventually going to get arm pump. It's just because the forces that you're dealing with are eventually going to be so big that you can't just be like a ballerina and balance on your pedals perfectly without pitching forward and backward. It doesn't work that way for example, if you go to Windrock or Whistler or your local real DH track or an enduro race, you're probably going to run into some arm pump. But 90% of arm pump from most amateur riders that I found is just like what you said there. So I'll just tell you guys, if you're watching this and you haven't seen the 12 beginner basics video, I go in depth on the pedal press that can help you with your balance in as deep of a level as I do with my high level athletes. Like, I put it there. So go watch the video. It's called the 12 backwards beginner basics the right way, and it covers that. If you want a link, just put a comment here and we'll get it to you. And the second one, let's just move on to the second one, is a feeling of chaos or you're kind of frantic. I'm going to check on the comments here real quick. Where you're feeling kind of frantic. So walk us through, Kevin, maybe a time when you were feeling a little out of sync on the bike, or you weren't the pilot, you were the passenger, or maybe one of your students was. And what's it like? How do you know that you're getting a feeling of franticness on the bike, and how can we fix it?
Yeah. Usually for me and for riders that I've worked with, it's a sensation of being tense. And there's this negative spiral that occurs when we feel tense. So we brace and we break and we start holding on even harder. And then we get shaken around even more and it feels more frantic. And so we brace more. And there's this negative spiral that occurs. And so if you have the awareness, like you're sensing that, another indicator goes right back to that number one. If we're hanging on those bars, my arm is attached right next to my head. So if the handlebar is doing this, and I don't allow that movement to happen because I'm braced and rigid, guess what my head is doing?
Yeah. It's all over.
It's really chaotic. It's over.
Yeah.
So best thing you can do, actually, pull over to the side or slow down significantly, shake out for a brief moment, collect your breath, let the anxiety go away. Only takes a couple seconds for most folks, and get back into it versus trying to fight it and sustain.
Yeah, it's a good tip. So you guys probably can't see right now because I'm not sharing to you all, but to you watching on YouTube, you guys might be able to see a rider where he's going over some rocks and roots. It happens to be me. I don't know why I talk in the third person, but it's so getting off the bike is a great way to kind of reset. When you're on the bike, feeling that kind of chaos and frantic feeling, I want to talk about that stiffness that Kevin shared with you guys and really just break this down for you so you can understand. What people do is we get stability any way possible, and that's a good thing. It means that you're creative. It means that you get the right idea, but a lot of times we do it not in a way that's the most helpful for us as adult athletes. Little kids can get away with this because their natural instinct is more aligned with a body that's constantly moving, balance that's kind of already developed, because what did they do the past 8 hours? They moved around. Adults, we get away from that a little bit more. And so because of that, we have a reduced range of motion, and we tend to just borrow stability by creating a full body tightness. So I want to actually show you guys a quick picture of this if you guys can see. So we'll look at this little picture right here. It's just a picture of me standing tall on the bike, right? And what I want you to do is take a look at the contact points. Okay, so in other words, what's touching the bike? We have the hands and we have the feet. So what most riders do is they go, well, I need to hold on to my end points, my contact points, my bars. I'm going to hold on as tight as I can with the arms. I'm going to hold on as tight as I can. I'm going to tighten up the body. I'm going to tighten up my legs. I'm going to tighten up my legs and my feet and just hang on for dear life. And it works. It gives you some balance, so to speak, because it keeps you in the middle of the bike. But what it costs you is everything that's really fun. In fact, actually, if you just kind of force yourself to the middle of the bike, that's a great way for beginners to, get on and get a good feel for it. But I see riders who have been riding for 10, 20, 30 years who are still bracing entirely on the bike. It's super common, nothing to feel bad about. But yeah, it's just a thing that adults do. We sacrifice all the movement, all the fluidity, and all the flow for this locked body tension. And it just ironically creates more chaos and more tension in the body than it does fun. So the single best way to do this is to get your balance into your feet and use your strong legs for balance. A lot of people say heavy feet, light hands. Kevin, do you want to expand on that? Like, what is a great way to cue some people that are watching for the first time, or maybe for the fifth time?
Yeah, heavy feet means standing on our feet. Whatever mass you carry on your body, you're balancing that over your feet. Just because you have something in your hands, your handlebars, doesn't mean that we need to rely on that by leaning forward or leaning back and using it as a stabilizer tool. So that's a really easy way to think about it. Like, heavy feet just means that's where my weight is. Hands are light, relaxed. We call it like keyboard fingers, piano fingers, whatever you want to call it. They're relaxed. Super fast too on the chaos frantic feeling. With this being connected and the head being jumbled around, the feet are so much further away from that. And they are wired to move in that manner. You know, Dave was saying kids move around 8 hours a day, adults we don't, so there's a little difference there as we age. But if you've ever slipped on ice or gravel on a hill or something, your legs manage that instability pretty well, while your head, neck, and spine stay like fairly stable throughout that.
Yeah.
That's the kind of like management we're talking about here, putting the weight and the forces through your feet.
It's making me smile because it made me think of chickens. You guys ever seen people that put a camera on a chicken head and like move the chicken around and the head just goes still? So
chicken
gimbal your body and you'll be fine. So we'll end that one with chicken gimbal. Cool. So let's move on to number 3. The third sign of bad balance on a bike is one side of the low back fatigued or sore more than the other. And this was Kevin's suggestion. So I just wanted to ask you, man, like, what do you notice with that? How do you see this manifest on people's riding, and what can we do about it?
Yeah, for a lot of folks, because our stance on a bike is not parallel like it is on a horse or a motorcycle or skiing, it is offset. And because of that, a lot of people feel like their body is twisted while they're on the bike. And there's an imbalance between the front foot and the back foot. And so they'll feel like usually the back leg is a bit more sore and the low back above that back leg is a bit more sore. That's what I mean by that imbalance.
Yeah. And so this one's pretty straightforward. The thing I would actually recommend for those of you that want to go deep on this is if you've ever had any injuries or you're just, struggling to get back on the bike after many, many years, it's a great idea to visit a physiotherapist in person. And if you don't want to do that, or maybe that's not in the budget, a great thing to do is really just to work on, frankly, a horse stance hold. So it's something where you just spread your feet out 3, 4, 5 feet wide, point your toes parallel, and you're going to squat down just like this. But you're going to want to keep your torso nice and upright and keep your core engaged. What this will do is it'll help you move the hips differently from move the femurs differently from the hips and the torso. And you need to be able to do that in order to kind of square the hips up on the bike. So that's something that it's a very simple drill you can do for totally free and something you can engage with right now. And in some cases, I'll go a little deeper on this. So I played high school football. I tore my ACL in high school, didn't know it. Tore my meniscus in high school, did know it. And that was 22 years ago. And then 2 years ago, I tore everything in my right knee, everything just blown up like with a grenade in there. And I also have had collarbone breaks, I've got problems with my neck from high school. So I'm just kind of a beat up, tight guy who's not balanced. That was my starting point. And I actually got a lot of lower back pain on the right, just like Kevin said. And so it made it worse because that's my back foot. And that's kind of how I, push back into the bike. And I found that I would actually ride with one hip way up higher than the other. And it was super messed up. And all of that changed when I did off the bike work. So fitness has a component of restoring your body, of working back through these things. And they're totally, quite frankly, fixable. I can do pistol squats and dragon squats on a slack line on my affected knee now. So, as long as you do your physiotherapy, as long as you do the work, you can do some pretty amazing things out there. So if you've been through some tough injuries, honestly, golf and mountain biking are two of the best sports you can play. And I just love it. So just want to encourage any of you listening right now who maybe you've been hurt and your body doesn't work like it used to. Guess what? Just do the work, get with a pro, have them help you, and you can really get a lot out of it. So thanks so much.
Real quick, that
Yeah,
you
go for
did
it.
not say as one of those things to do is just ride more.
No.
That it'll fix itself with more seat time.
Yeah.
Because if you're imbalanced, you're experiencing arm pump, you're getting one side of your low back more hurt than the other, and your head feels like it's about to shake off. Riding more is not going to fix those.
No. Yeah, I mean, my personal story on that is I actually quit riding frequently for a couple years, and my biggest progression I've ever had with mountain biking was after I quit riding for 3 months completely. And I worked exclusively on mobility, muscle activation, and strength throughout a range of motion, and it had a bigger impact on my riding than any technique work I've ever done, except for one lesson I had with cornering, because it's like, dude, if your technique on cornering is so bad you can't access stuff, it's like that also. So those are the two most impactful things I've ever done with my riding in terms of any time. And I actually quit riding. I didn't even touch a bike. I couldn't. I was renovating my own house and taking care of a newborn. So yeah, I know that sounds like I'm trying to make a hyperbolic type of a story, guys, but that should tell you something. If you're like, I think my body's important, I should probably go to the gym and lift. No, don't just lift more. Don't just ride more. You need to take a look at what's actually going on in your body that's causing pain, that's causing the inefficiency, that's causing all that stuff. So just look at it that way. And again, for those of you, I'm doing these lives kind of to go out there and say, hey, this is some of the stuff we're doing with our paid mentors or our paid mentorships with riders, and I'm just giving it to you guys here for free so that you can see a little bit of what it's about. It's totally a ploy to get some of you to sign up in the long term, of course. Like that's what it is. Like I don't even have to try though. So y'all reach out to me and apply. It works. But really, like 99% of people watching this, they're not going to work with us one-to-one, and that's why we want to do this, because our mission is to solve the progression problem and really help people with making a really big difference in the riding. So yeah, get out there and work on it. So let's move on to I think we're on 4, aren't we? Yeah, we are. Number 4 is the quads are predominantly sore versus the whole upper leg. Now, Kevin, I'm very interested to hear your take on this. So can you give us a little bit of your background too with what type of riding do you feel like you are the most connected with when you were just like out there? Is it like BMX? Was it jumping? Is it racing? What's kind of your style that you feel the most connected to when you're out there shredding as hard as you can?
My preference and my connection highlight, I would say, is best described as dual slalom racing.
Nice.
Very pumpy, jumpy, corner, snappy, powerful movements, short bursts of energy, and high speeds. That's where my background is strongest and where I connect and resonate and how I try to treat my trail rides.
Nice. So it's like you just stretch out the slalom race. Okay, so connect for us, like as someone who loves to get out there and be very active and agile and mobile on the bike, what does it mean if your quads are predominantly sore versus the whole upper leg?
Yeah, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that this is number 4 and we're talking about the quads. Just thought that was
That's so good, man.
So, no, really though, what that tells me, what I hear from a lot of folks who maybe spend a lot more time in the saddle pedaling is...
I'm sorry, I'm losing it on that one. Because your delivery was so like casual. Let me just bring our attention to this.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, man. That got me good, dude.
All right. Especially for folks who are perhaps on the other end of the spectrum, where they're not super shreddy. They spend a little bit more time in the saddle. They spend more time pushing their legs around. They treat the pedals as they go around a circle like an up and down piston. And they're pushing predominantly with the quad. And there are other components of the pedal stroke. It doesn't go up and down. It goes around in a circle. And so there's a scraping component that's engaging the hamstring. There's a pushing forward and down component that's engaging the glute. And so just even in the saddle, like if you're the other side of the spectrum, we want to talk about the whole leg, not just the quads. If you are on the shreddy end of the spectrum, usually being quad dominant or quad sore means we're probably doing more of like a squat with our movement patterns than we are a hinge. And it's not like one is better than the other. It's just we want to be able to access and utilize both. A hinge could be best, like analogy would be like a deadlift, where the hips go back and forth and you're driving from the glute and that posterior chain.
Yes.
And a squat is more, we could probably all picture squat, but probably more knee diving and quad dominant.
Yeah, and this I've actually seen a little bit of a pattern. There's a lot of riders these days who are very tall in the legs, and they, they're very still and tall in the legs. And then there's some riders who, a lot of them I see are younger. So the younger riders, they're used to using that range of motion. And so number 4 here is really good for you, because I used to do this when I started riding. I have all this video of me doing all this stuff, and I'm like, it's decently fast, that guy. But then I look at it, I'm like, man, I specifically remember feeling my quads burning, and I freeze frame it, and here I am, like I look like this on the bike. So it's like, you're totally right, man. What's a good way to engage more of the entire leg so we can get more balance? And how do we think about that?
Yeah, great question. I think about moving the pelvis.
That's a good one.
And you can do this off the bike, even just sitting in a chair. If you're someone who's sitting and listening and watching this, you can tip the whole pelvis forward. You can tip the whole pelvis back. So I'm not just moving my trunk. I'm actually like rocking on my sit bones as a way to think of that.
Yeah.
Just engaging some mobility there. You could also, there's a common phrase in the mountain bike world, like rip the cranks off the bike, like go charge. But really in my mind, I interpret that as trying to rip the cranks literally off the bike sideways. And if you engage a little bit of external rotation on the toes, you'll feel the glute muscles engage. Like even just doing it in the chair here, I can like feel the little dimple in my butt. That's my glute muscle saying, oh, it's game time. Let's do something.
Yeah, I like this one too, because you could look at this like balance of not burning out your quads, or you can actually look at this as balance of, okay, well, how do I not fall off my bike? And both are very good ways to look at it. So I like this one. I guess one thing I'd like to add to that too, man, would be if you're feeling like one area of the leg is getting overworked, it's not necessarily that you need to look at, okay, well, how do I squeeze another muscle while I ride? That can be helpful. But another way to look at it too is look at the whole body. How are you standing? Because if you're doing a really good job with the legs and the pelvis, then you're probably going to use your body's most natural way of moving those muscles. And if you're a little out of sync with those things, it could be a good sign that you need to do some mobility work. It could be a good sign that you need to take a look at maybe some of your muscles are stronger than others. A lot of road cyclists, they do that pelvic tilt, but then they also bend at the lower back and they get really small on the bike and then brace their body from there. It's not as strong of a position. And that's something that you guys can look at too if you're more of like a road cyclist background, switching into mountain biking. It's not that we need to be tall and have our elbows out. It's that we need to be able to use our hips for power and our core for transferring stability to the torso and the trunk. And when we do that, we can move the arms and we have options. With mountain biking, we want options. With road biking, we want to be as aero and small as possible. And so those two things are kind of different, something to explore if you're more of a road rider getting onto mountain biking. And that's a side note. I've always wondered about how much me being really long has a lot more drag than some of the smaller riders. But I can never use that as an excuse. It's not cool.
But particularly with that, like roadies, and I say that with love, of course, because we all ride bikes and we probably ride them on the road at some point, no matter how you define your riding. If we're emphasizing aero, we're typically emphasizing being in the saddle, and it's a relatively fixed position.
Yeah.
And that has its benefits. There's nothing wrong with that, especially in that discipline. But as we get more to mountain biking, we're typically out of the saddle, less concerned with those aerodynamics, and more concerned with the optionality and mobility as you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
And so something you can play with your balance, if you're one of those riders who's coming from that road or gravel or saddle oriented cycling,
Mm-hmm.
is simply to ride with your saddle down more often. It'll emphasize your balance as you're standing over your pedals as you move around.
Yeah. Something that's really cool with a lot of, like I have one student here and the Athlete Accelerator, Randy, and Randy is, he was more of a road bike guy, and then he got into like cross country, and then he's into enduro now. So he's gone from more of the endurance spectrum to charging hard on gnarly stuff. And what's really cool about watching him ride, I don't have the video with me, it's on my GoPro and the file's too big, so it's on my big hard drive, but it's really cool to see him because he just kind of floats above his seat whenever there's bumps, and he does it it's like a slight little float, and the bike is going bump, 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 bump under him, and he's just tracking like this, and that's a really good indication of, okay, well, I'm using my range of motion on the bike, and I'm letting my muscles kind of be relaxed, but also supporting me at the same time. That relaxation allows movement, but the support gives us that stability and that balance. So he's a great example of that. Maybe I'll pull up a video next time on my big hard drive that's indoors. I haven't set up my $3,000 NAS system yet.
You have a phrase that I'm going to share here, and hopefully that's cool because
Oh,
I
yeah.
know we've shared it in the faith community, but we
Float
want
it
to get
out
this
there.
out here.
Float it out there, man. It's a fun one.
Float it out there.
You know what I mean?
I've heard you say this, and it's resonated with me. When it's Rocky and Rudy, float the booty.
Yes.
And all we're talking about is hovering above the saddle. But if we can create that stability and balance over the feet and allow for that mobility of the bike underneath us, we're no longer attached to it with our hips. That's really empowering and confidence inspiring as we're out there on the trail. So if you haven't tried that, give that a try.
Yeah, and it's as simple as just like hover above the seat. Don't try too hard. Keep the overall pressure in your feet pretty equal, and let the trail kind of do its work under you. Let's move on to number 5. Number 5 is the neck and the shoulders being sore. And I'm going to jump in on this one because for some of us, it's just because you broke your collarbones too many times and you hit too many dudes with a straight neck like this in football in high school, and it's just going to hurt. That's me. My neck does get a little sore. My traps get a little sore after a 2-hour ride. But let's go back, and Kevin, aside from me joking about it, how does that connect full circle to maybe forearm pump? How are those two connected?
Yeah. Well, again, going back to if we're gripping really firmly and we're relying on that grip as a stability point for our balance, it's going to tire out these little muscles real quick. And these little muscles are connected directly to my neck and shoulders right up here. And so as this arm is getting jostled around, these bigger muscles here are being activated in a way that they're not really designed to move like that. And they can only last so long. I mean, they can do it. And like you said, about 2 hours in, you're like, gosh, I'm sore. So if you find that you can only ride for so long and your neck gets sore, try relaxing the grip. Go back to the piano fingers, the keyboard fingers. Try softening the arms. We often talk about in mountain biking, like having your elbows out. There's benefit there, but if I hold my arms like this for a long time, I'm going to get tired. So if I just soften that, it can often alleviate that tension. And the added bonus of that is if I soften my arms, I can't use them for stability as much anymore. It's going to force me to find that balance in my feet a little bit better.
Yeah, and this is a great tip too. I found that doing just that while seated, because if I go on a 2.5-hour ride, I'm not standing up and pedaling the whole time. If I'm seated and I take the leaning out of my forearms and I release a little bit of that tension in the grip, what I find is that I need to use my core to hold my torso up a little bit, even while I'm seated. And I think part of that is just because of how the bikes are made, how bodies are built. So it's something to be very mindful of. And it's kind of cool because when you practice it seated, it's the same mechanics of what you need to do standing in a way, of the, supporting the torso with the core. So it's kind of a cool little bonus to be able to do that as well. I talk about that a lot. It's just not I don't have a catchphrase for it, so no one's going to remember. You have to watch like 10 episodes here and go, oh, that thing you say, I finally got it. That's why we do this, because I don't have enough catchphrases. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, let's kind of jam on this. Tony, Rick, both you guys have been kind enough to jump in with us. What questions do you guys have, or any new or different takeaways from what we chatted about today that kind of landed for you guys?
Sorry, wrong button. This actually, we're talking about arm pump and balance, and we know through being part of the academy here that I put more weight on my bars than I should. But we rode whole enchilada last year and a half or so ago, and that arm pump, I found that some of it was because I had my brake levers out too far. So I was dealing with some of that. So that one ride changed my brake lever situation. But to that point, my race season in 2023, my riding whole enchilada, that arm pump, realizing now, especially after having videoed a couple of things, seeing my body position and what my my go-to is more of a body wedge.
Yeah.
Than it is balanced over the feet with the arms as just control, not a mounting point, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can see where changing that, and especially changing that correctly, like you're talking about, engaging the hamstrings, the quads, the glutes, the core, engaging everything instead of just one of them, relying on that, makes a huge difference.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, even for you, like, do you find that your arms are stronger or your legs are stronger? And it's kind of obviously a rhetorical question, but
no one calls me Trizilla.
No one calls me Trizilla. Dude, how cool would that be if you just had tries the size of a quad? That would actually not be cool. That would not be cool.
I'm thinking low back pain at this point.
As soon as I said it, I was like, that was not cool. Like, it's just not. So that's really good, man. Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, why does it work? Well, because our leg muscles are stronger and they're better at balancing stuff above it. So why don't we use it? And yeah, it's like, how normal does it feel to get on the bike and just hold on for dear life, though? I mean, that's how I started mountain biking. I didn't know how else to do it. I think a lot of you guys have been riding longer than I have. And so you've been through a little bit more of the... Yeah, like I've been riding for 20 years. So like the other thing too is though with the different bikes, I got on bikes with low seats that had relatively modern geometry the first time I got on a mountain bike. So like the worst geometry bike I ever touched was a K2 Beast with the triple crown, no lean. What do you call those forks with the sponges in them? Neoprene. It was not neoprene.
The elastomers.
Yeah, the elastomer shocks. It had like a 5-inch elastomer shock. That thing was so flexy, I could slam down and like twist my body and spring back up and just do a 180 like this. It was so great. But yeah, like that bike wasn't that bad. It was like pretty modern. It's not the bike. So for you guys though, the original, sometimes the more original mountain bikes, they were just like road bikes with bigger tires. Like they did not help you with your stance. So.
I sent you a picture of my Cannondale Killer B that I still have.
Yeah, dude. It's like so I respect that because that's like you've been through World War I and World War II. See, Tony's laughing. He's not even mad at me.
That's a good point, though. We were talking about how if we want to improve our balance, one thing we could do is hover above the saddle a bit, practice standing more. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're someone who's still riding a bike with a rigid seat post, or maybe you're like one of those gravel monster cross bike riders, which is totally hip these days, and you don't have a dropper post.
Yeah.
Getting just detached from that saddle, standing over it. But if you do have a dropper post, putting it down will give you access to so much more range of motion as you're figuring out your balance. I mean, there's a reason I put a dropper post on my 8-year-old's mountain bike. Imagine learning from a young age how much mobility you have access to because that seat's out of the way. So cool.
Yeah, good stuff. Cool. Tony, you got any? I know on the live stream the my head is getting cut off and half of them are getting cut off too. I have no idea how to fix that, guys. I just downloaded the newest version of OBS and it looks correct on my side. That's the streaming software. So thank you for being quality people and just extracting more value even though the screen sucks. We're going to look back on this one day and realize it had to work out. Anyways, Tony, what are your thoughts, man? We're not picking up any audio for you. Let me see. What you got? Still can't hear you, man.
Oh, shucks, we're not hearing you.
Let's see. Try Tony. Let me think here. Try turning the speaker off and then back on. Or not the speaker, the microphone. We'll never stop mixing those up. Yeah, let me see what.
Very, very quietly, but I can hear you. So if you speak up, we should be good to go.
Started feeling a relaxation really from my hands all the way back, and I don't have near the lower back issues with the cramping and the tightness as long as
Heck yeah.
That light grip, and the light grip, like Kevin said, I mean the light grip, I was amazed at how I could move around.
Well, it's funny. We walk around in our feet all day. We don't rely on our hands for our balance. But when we get on the bike, we're like, oh, there's handlebars here. Let me lean on them. Let me hang off them. But if we relax that grip, it goes right back to how we're neurologically programmed to move. And just for some of those out there listening in on this, Tony said never grip tightly. There's some extremes to that, where Dave was saying, like, if you're racing at Windrock,
you're gonna grip tightly,
because those forces are.
Yeah.
But as a good balance point check, that's a great cue.
Yeah, it's a great cue.
Heck yeah, thanks, Tony.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, and you're doing the other thing too, guys, that I want to encourage you all at is Tony's doing a good job of raising his awareness and finding something that works for him. So when Tony's out riding his bike on the trail and we're giving him the drills and he's doing that thing, the way he's getting to it is, and this is how anyone can do it, is my point. He's like, cool, well, I need to grab on for dear life less. How can I do that? And he's got his way to do it. And the reason why it's working for him and what you guys can do who are following along is you can really just focus on, okay, well, what's the thing that's going to actually help me the most? And find a way to get that problem solved, so to speak. I'm a big believer in like first principles thinking. And what's the one thing that if it were solved would make everything else, all the other problems irrelevant or not even a problem anymore? And so Tony does a great job of that. Rick's doing a great job of that. Appreciate you guys. So cool. Any other, I think we can kind of end up a little bit earlier today, unless you guys on the live stream have any questions. Let me double check. So this is hilarious. Charlie, dude, I've really made it now. You can't figure it out on the spot. That's what I said. And then he said, look at this boomer messing with his streaming setup live. That's hilarious. If I'm a boomer, then how do I come back from this one, guys? Well, I guess I can hang out with everybody else for real now then.
The internet comment section does not disappoint.
Boomers. Remember when millennials got roasted on for being lazy? I just never understood that. I'm like, dude, I don't know any lazy millennials. All of my friends are just monsters. Like, we're working 70, 80 hours a week. I got one buddy, he's 33, and he's probably got 20 million in the bank. He started with nothing. So yeah, I don't hang out with those millennials. What I really am is just like too busy to freaking care about if my head's chopped off on YouTube Live. I'm gonna do I'm gonna do YouTube and have fun. So, anyways, that's what I have to say about that.
Hang on, are you saying you're a millennial?
I'm 39 years old. I think I'm a millennial. If you hear that and you have to do math, that should make you feel old. Oh, sorry, you just set me up with a dunk, and I had to put it in the basket.
I did that too. You're right.
But no, I feel that way too. It's like this kid was born in 1993. It's like, and they can drink alcohol. I'm like, no, they can't. And they're like, yeah, they're like 30 years old. I'm like, no.
2003 now, not 93.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
2003.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you were born after Neo was, rescued all of us from the Matrix, and we know about all these things. We are the elders here. And
How do you know about Neo?
how'd you see? Because I'm a millennial. I don't know if I'm a terrible millennial.
Let me just share this with you. 2 weeks ago when I had the wisdom teeth pulled, I had a young lady that I see it at the Capitol every now and then, and happened to mention I had some wisdom teeth pulled.
Oh no. Oh no.
Why would they pull your wisdom teeth at your age?
Probably because he's got enough wisdom for all of us. Dude, I'm going to put in my next email because I have an email list. If you guys aren't on the email list, go Google around, you'll find it. I'm just going to roast people. And I'll tell you, like, look, you can't get in here unless you can take a little bit of roasting about things like your age, your fitness. Don't worry, we're nice about it too, but we do roast people here. It's great. I only do it because I get roasted. All right, well, let me check. Kevin, is there anything else we want to cover today? That was kind of fun, low-key.
Just to bring it full circle, the reason why balance is so important. Like, yeah, we're here to fix your balance. Great. Why? Well, try to just walk around and be imbalanced. Drunk walking doesn't move very well. And if you feel like that when you're out on the bike, your riding has so much more potential to become so much more enjoyable. That's why we're doing it. We want you to feel confident, comfortable, shreddy, having fun, and it stems or is built on the balance point.
Awesome. Yeah, man. Kevin, we appreciate your expertise. Rick, Tony, thanks for hanging out and letting me roast you a little bit, and thanks for roasting me. I think everyone's a little warmer now after the roast, but only for a little while longer because the summer's coming to South Carolina here, and it's going to be hot.
Let us all know when you're flexing your arms, okay?
I'm not grabbing these bars too hard, man. I can flex. It doesn't look any different. This is great, man. I have peaked. I love this. All right, guys. It was great seeing you on the live stream. Thanks, everyone, for joining in. Come by next week. On the live stream, you guys are more than welcome to submit video. I'll probably have the screen clipping fixed by next time. I'll just get a separate screen, and I'll broadcast to that one instead of here, and that'll fix it. So we can actually see a little bit of footage. You guys are more than welcome to submit footage you want to ask some questions on, just like community style, and we'll tear you down and build you back up and do it in a fun, encouraging, positive way maybe. We might roast you as well. All right, guys. See you in the next one, and thanks for joining today on YouTube. All right.